Alright, here we are at the queue for the gameplay portion of Combat Theater for Company of Heroes. And the game itself, I did the rules part well over a month ago, but since then we had a BBR excursion to Oklahoma, and then the Midway game from HBG came out, so there's been a lot of distractions. But I thought I would get this video out and finish up this Combat Theater series on the Company of Heroes game, and then I'll move on to the Midway game. We'll get some, take a look at those rules and some gameplay there. The sad part to this game is that being a Kickstarter, if you didn't already have it, you can't go to the store and buy it. And I guess my assumption was, you know, the Kickstarter gets the game off the ground and then it would go for sale, you know, in stores or online or something. But that's not the case. So I learned something there. They are going to do a second Kickstarter to offer this game to more people at that time. So if you find this game interesting, just keep an eye out for the Kickstarter for Company of Heroes. I believe the company is Bad Crow Games, and we'll go from there. So you got the mission booklet here, which has quite a few different, you know, scenarios in it. Small maps, large maps, and what they call here huge maps, you know. And then they give you the setup criteria and then all the things that you would need to get that game going. Or like this game here, where I'm just going to take one map and we will play with the basic start, you know, of units, and then go from there. So basically you kind of play your own game. So choose your maps, you know, choose your factions, and then, you know, you just start from scratch and head at it, you know, set your victory points. For this game we'll go with 9 victory points, so it'll be easy. You know, looking on the command board here, 9 will be that. For the ease of gameplay, we won't use a commander, but if you did, you know, you would choose your commander, set them in there, and they have different attributes and different units and vehicles that you can bring in as you ramp up your commander, you know, level him up. So the standard setup for any game is as you see. You know, you're starting on the 1 on your incomes, and then your supply starts at 4, and then to increase it, you know, you've got to capture these points. So let's start off with turn 1. I'm using the same setup for both sides. 2 infantry units for the US and 2 infantry for the Germans. And then we'll add a special team. We'll add in a mortar team for the US along with a Jeep. And then for the Germans, a Kubelwagen, if that's how it's said, right? Or Kampfwagen. I always called it that, but I'll have to look on the card. But one of the interesting things about the 2 vehicles, if you see there, it has the like the Red Cross symbol, like a, you know, medic or a MASH tent or whatever you want to call it. But they have the ability to heal 1 infantry per squad per turn that's not in a building. So kind of a good idea to get that on the board, just for you know, to keep your units alive. So you've got the start off here. Well, before we get there, these command post cards, you know, for each nation there's 3 levels, and then on the back, you know, it has some handy references, and this here is the round sequence, which, you know, is real important to follow, and this makes it real easy. You know, maneuver phase, damage phase, and then it breaks it down a little bit, and then supply phase and breaks it down, and then you just go on to the next turn. So it helps. So this is a British one, so we're not using the British faction, so we'll use this here to keep my mind in order here as far as the sequence of the turn order. So in a normal battle, you would have whoever has the lowest income would go first as far as spending their first 3 command cubes. They're both tied, so it says to roll off the dice, and I think it's the most reds gets to go first. So there's Germany, they got no reds, US gets a red, so US goes first. So nothing big on the first turn, 1, 2, we're going to capture this command point. So we're going to spend 2 of our 3 cubes. Well, we got 1 extra. Just for grins, we'll move that guy there. So that would be the end of that. So now Germany would go and spend 3 cubes, which, they are also 2 away. So you could mark them as a trail, like if the US was coming here, started there. So you could do that, or you just put it with it saying, hey, that was 2. It's probably easier to do it this way so that this unit has 2. It technically could move 1 more, but it can't capture that point unless it's sitting there. So it's going to sit there. So Germany will do the same thing, spending the 1, and then you come over to the US. I'm having to walk around the camera, and really it only needs to spend 1 to get into that one. And then for the US first turn, they're not going to spend all these command cubes because they want to capture these 2 points. And same goes for Germany. So they spend that. Now you put out your cubes. I've got extra for both, but I don't have the units to move. So now we're going to be done with the turn. Now you move on to the damage phase. Check for pinned units. Now only machine guns can pin, and there are no machine guns on the board. Check for damage. You've got to be within 2 spaces for these infantry. Sometimes you can upgrade them to get 3 spaces of attack in, but so no one's near enough for combat. So we'll go on to capture the control points. Well, the US will make them blue. Put these blue flags up. They've captured 1 fuel and 1 manpower. So we're going to go onto their little board and increase their income, manpower, and fuel. And I believe, looking at the Germans, that's the same 2 they've got. So this map is balanced in the fact of where the control points are and what they are. So no big deal. Some maps are a little different, and you also have the ability to customize that by moving these flags, and then just moving the control marker. So if you didn't want to go with the control points that are on the board, you could certainly do that. Alright, so let's move the US. Nope, I already moved the US. Let's move the Germans ones up on their control points. Alright, so we've adjusted the incomes. Now the next phase is to collect stockpiles. So the US, when you're going to collect, you just go off your income. So they're going to go up 2, 1, and 2, and then Germany's going to be the same thing because they captured the same control points. So that means they have 6 manpower, and that's usually what you're buying when you're looking at what to bring in. So you want to bring in this Jeep or bring in the motor. Well, you know what? You can bring in both because we have fuel. So we're going to spend 4 manpower to bring in the mortar team, 2 manpower to bring in the Jeep along with 2 fuel. So we will mark our command board down to, well, it'll be 0 and then down 2. So that means they're not going to really be able to bring anything in next turn. So the purchase goes on the board, on their side, and I think those are going to be good spots. So for the Germans, let's see if their card is the same. It should be, as far as the base card. So it is 4 for the machine gun team. and then 2 and 2 for the Kübelwagen. So we'll put those out, and the machine gun team we're going to put over there. Well, you know what? They're going to make a dash for that control point, so let's put the machine gun team where we can cover that. Although not yet, because that's going to be more than 2 away, isn't it? Alright, so that would be the end of round 1. We've purchased units. We didn't upgrade anything because all we did was spend. I got to remember to adjust the German one here as well. Alright, so they would be there. Alright, so we're good. No victory points. So round 2, let's scoop all our cubes off the board. Oh, German one's already off. Alright, so same thing. No one has a clear advantage in income. So Germany, they get, 2 red. Looks like they'll be going first, and 1 red. Alright, so Germany gets to go first. So that is good news for Germany, because for 1, 2, 3 cubes, they're going to move into there for a victory point. So that'll be huge, and you can see those light green borders. That means there's a +1 to their defense. So for the US, now they're going to need to attack this, or they can come up here and get the ammo, or they could go into that house. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. So we can get 2 units to attack that. So that's going to be beneficial. So we're going to move this one 1, 2, 3. Alright, so Germany having 3 to move now. We are going to go 1, and it costs 2 to get into a house. And either way, if it would, whenever you move into a house, that ends your movement for the turn. So, but it took them all 3 to get in there, so it's no big deal. So the US can go in here and be safe for the moment. So I think they will. They'll go in there 2, and then that leaves a third that we can move this guy up 1. So now we've got 2 fire teams. I didn't see that that was a mortar team. I am going to redo that because the mortar team fires 3. So we're going to leave that there. So it's out of range of that, but it still can fire its mortar than that because this guy is spotting it. My mistake. I was thinking that was a machine gun team. So, alright. No harm. Alright, so Germany has 3 to go for the final. Now, I don't need to move this Kübelwagen yet because the there's no damage yet. So we're going to move our machine gun team up 3. And the machine gun team, you have to actually point so it can cover these 3. So it matters which way that machine gun, for the rifle and the mortar, it doesn't matter at all. So the US, by spending 2 here and 1 there, and the 3, which is actually 2, so they would actually have 4 left on this turn. So we're going to move our vehicle up. Oh, before I say that, the vehicles, these specific vehicles, they have a special symbol next to their attack, which is a speed dice. So that means they get to move 1 extra. So we put the speed dice by the vehicle, and it would move 1, and now it still has 3 that it could move. And I don't want to get it destroyed, so we're going to leave it over here. So really it only spent 1, and we have 3 left. If we wanted to move these, we could move more. So that's an advantage. So actually, technically, this Kübelwagen could move 1 for free. It didn't need to spend the dice, so we'll move it up 1 in case we got to get it somewhere that is unseen right now. Alright, so we are done with the maneuver phase. We are going into checking for pinned units. Well, the machine gun is not upgraded, so it only has a range of 2 right now. So if I have the means to upgrade that this turn, I probably will. So they're out of range. So these two are in range. The attack here for the US for an infantry is 1 dice. So we got 1 infantry attack coming there. We've got this mortar which attacks with 1 HE dice, which is high explosives. So it comes in there. So they can only attack that, so there'll be 1 back, which is the infantry attack. Now this yellow is only on this side, so this is no extra defense. This attack going here crosses the light green or yellow, so that gives them 1 defense dice. So now we're going to look at the back of the other British command card, and it will tell you basically the attack chart. So infantry on infantry, there is no defense dice, so it's going to be an automatic casualty. The mortar is HE, so it on infantry is an automatic. So right here is two men from this squad will be eliminated unless I can roll a defense on this dice, and the defense fails if it's red. So there's 2 chances for it to fail and 4 for it to be good. So we'll roll it, and it is black. So that means 1 of these soldiers were saved and 1 perishes. Here there is no modifiers, so 1 soldier, it goes down. And that's your combat. Pretty simple. You're only rolling dice if you have defensive modifiers. Alright, so capture control points. Well, this one's huge because the Germans captured a victory point and the US captured the ammunition, and the ammunition one helps with the upgrades. So we're going to increase the US 1 there on the ammunition, and then the Axis, it's Germany, they get on the board with a victory point. So they're the first ones to score a victory point. The other way you can get victory points is by destroying units. So that will be the end of that. We've collected that. We've adjusted our incomes. Now we're going to collect our stockpile. So as you can see, 2. So they're going to go up to 2. They're going to go up to 2 on the ammunition, and going up 2 on the fuel. No victory points. So now, you know, I'm starting to wonder right now if the rolling the dice is based off victory points first and then income. And it might be. But either way, they were all tied. So Germany is going to go up to 1, they're going to go up to 2, they're going to go up 1 for ammunition, and then 2 for the manpower. Alright, so looking at that, we've adjusted, we've collected our stockpiles. Now we're going to purchase and make upgrades. So the machine gun team, for 1, oh, we didn't even do that. The other thing that you get in this game, and let me grab some of these white cubes because they are considered experience points. So you get an experience point for eliminating a unit, and then you get an experience point if you damage any unit. So they damaged 1 and they damaged 1, so they're each getting 1 experience. And if you see on this little tray, you just drop it in there. 1 for damaging, and then you'll use these experience either to upgrade units, which we will, or to upgrade your commander to get them to the 4th level. You know, and sometimes it may take 1 or 2 or 3 to move them to the next level. It just depends. So let me put that US 1 over there so I don't forget it. which will be critical. Alright, so what triggered me was when I was looking to increase the range by 1 and the sight and the range by 1, you need 1 experience token or cube. So we're going to spend that. And our machine gun now effectively has a range and view of 3. So we'll put that dice with the extra range and extra fire, or extra view. So now these guys are in trouble if they don't move, but I think they would move into the heavy cover here. Would be the wise maneuver. All right, so that is an upgrade. We could upgrade that German infantry to a bazooka, so they would get an HE shot as well. Or no, that's not a bazooka. That's like an infantry mortar. But I don't think I want to do that just yet. Yeah. That would be 4 of my 6. So I'm gonna hold off on that. Let's look at the American card and see what they're gonna do. Alright, so for an upgrade. Alright, well, here we go. The Americans are going to use their experience cube to upgrade an additional HE shot. So that mortar now will get 2 shots. That's going to be pretty painful. So we're going to spend that cube and we're going to put an additional HE shot on the mortar. And that basically just reminds us, you know, hey, we got extra rounds to fire. So we'll take off our cubes. Alright, movement cubes. Alright, where's the other 3? Right up here. Alright, that's the end of your round 2, right? Neither side had enough stockpile to purchase more units, so we're going to play with what we got on the board. So we go to the maneuver phase. Well, I think that it's the team, and I probably should have looked that up, and I don't want to. Well, you know what? I'll just edit that out and I'll look it up real quick. Alright, so there you have it. It's victory points. So it's victory points first, then it goes to the income. So Germany has 1 victory point. That means US gets to go first. So what will the US do? They don't need to move their mortar. This Jeep can go 1 and then spend. You can go through another a hex with a unit, but you can't stop. So only 1 unit per hex. So 2 would put it right here, and it would have a 3rd left. So we're going to heal a guy on that unit there. These guys are going to be coming under fire, so we're going to back these guys up into this building. So they're going to go 1. Oh, they only have 1. Never mind. We'll finish that move when we have cubes available. Alright, so this unit here is going to be in trouble if it stays, but it's a victory point. So we are going to move our heavy machine gun in there for sure. And then we're going to back these up 1. Now they could come in and get that, so I think we'll stay. Our medical vehicle moves 1 for free, 2, 3. So that puts that there. Now the US will go, and they're going to spend 2 to get up into this building. Now here's where Germany's got to make the decision. And it might have been wiser for the US to go from here into that victory point. Now that I see that. Because Germany can pop out of this building, claim that victory point, even though they're going to get shot once. Yeah. Well, that's one of those things that when you're playing both sides and you're filming, you don't exactly see. Hey, no need to bark there, buddy. Just go on up and check out who it is. Alright, so yeah, Germany will move in. That's going to give the Germans an unfair advantage, I think, going forth here. Not going to move, not going to move. I say that, let's back up so we can at least heal one guy. And then the Americans, as you can hear the dog going wild up there, someone must be at the front door. Alright, so the American move, it does seem, I mean, that squad's going to be wiped out. They may not capture it if they're eliminated. They're going to have 1 damage, 2 damage, and then this Kugelwagen actually has a shot too. So there's going to be 3 damage and there's 3 guys. They'll get an extra dice for that cover. Plus this machine gun is going to pin them so they can't return fire. Whoops. But they will capture the victory point if they survive, but they're going to lose the squad. So things are not looking good here for the U.S. We could move this mortar over. 1, 2. That'll give it a shot at these guys. So we're doubling up on them. Which means this guy, that's the problem with the flags. That means this guy really, to get out of that machine gun, should come here. And that's going to be the third movement, right? 2 there and 1 there. That went up in the building, that's 3. That's already moved 2. So that leaves them with 1 that they're not using, and the Germans, I don't think the Germans are going to move. Uh-oh. Alright, here's another thing where you're filming and you're not paying attention severely. The Germans have another move. They move this machine gun up 1, 2, 3 with that added range. Now they're pinned and they can't fire there. And they're in the open, so they're going to automatically lose a guy. So, as you can see, the Americans have found themselves in quite a pickle already. Alright, well, I think that's where they're going to stay, because he's going to heal. He'll heal, and there'll be punishment on those guys. Alright, so that's the end of that. Now we're going to look at some combat. So because of the additional range, the first thing you check is pinned. They are pinned, so they cannot fire. That is a stinker, because they could have moved here and still fired 1, 2, 3. Alright, so my camera kicked off for some reason, and I'm not really sure where I was in the speaking. I did adjust this mortar back from being in range of that machine gun. Now I guess to be fair, the Germans still had another move, so but they're going to fire at these guys because they're 3 away, so we'll pin them. But they had no one to fire anyway. Alright, so I was going over the HE shot, and the standard HE shot is you just put down that. In the advanced, you roll to see if you hit, so if you get 2 reds, well, you miss. If you get a black, one of the 2 blacks, you get 1 hit, but if you get one of the greens, then there's 2 greens, you get 2 hits. So I kind of like that, because say on this one here you'd have 2 shots, well, there's a miss and 1 hit. So what that means is 1 guy goes away because he was hit, and that's a miss. Then you have the infantry that takes 1 guy away. So now they're down 2 guys, and then the return fire for these Germans into this building is 1 infantry, and there's a building here, so the building gives them 2 defensive dice. So anything but red is a, oh wow. So neither one of their defensive dice worked, so they do lose a guy. So Germany down 3 guys, US down 2. Now you've got this one here. There is a yellow line there. So the pin dice, you still get the attack, which is 1 infantry. But you got the yellow line, so that'll be 1 defensive dice roll, which is not, so there's your casualty. So after round 3, I think, each side has lost 3 infantry. The downside is Germany has 2 victory point hexes. So capture control points. So here's where Germany takes a huge lead and probably, I'm going to guess, the game. So Germany increased their, I think the whole table moved when I leaned there. Increased their income to 2. And none of the other things increase. So when I do their stockpile, the manpower goes up 4, ammunition goes up 1, fuel goes up 2, and then now Germany goes up to 3 on the victory points. So kind of a big deal at the beginning when I failed to get US up to that victory point, or the other one. And now you see the fruits of that mistake. Alright, so up 2, and up 2. So they've got quite a bit that they can buy and bring on this turn. Which, collect stockpiles, we just did. Purchase units and upgrade. Well, being next to this Jeep and not in a building, they will recover 1 health. Same thing for the German here from that Kugelwagen. So there is that. So we've got our health. So US, we're looking at, and they each get a experience cube. Let me put that over there so I don't forget, because they each damaged a unit. Alright, so what we could do is upgrade our 2nd tier command post to get these additional units, which is a machine gun, anti-tank gun, or a M8 Greyhound scouting vehicle, which, as you can see, has got some decent firepower and a speed dice, so it gets to go with extra speed. So for 1 manpower and 3 fuel, which they have, US will upgrade its command post to level 2. So let me move these down, and they're going to purchase the command car, the Greyhound, for 3 manpower, which is all they have, and 2 fuel. Alright, so they're back down to 0 on manpower and down to 2 on fuel, but their ammunition is high. They're at 9 on the ammunition, so what would be appropriate here is to upgrade the mortar team with a speed dice. So I don't think I want to do that. I'm going to upgrade that infantry here to a bazooka, so they can fire an armored piercing or an additional infantry. So we'll upgrade this unit here, and I'll put that dice, so that means they get an extra dice. Now they probably won't ever use that armored bazooka unless Germany gets, you know, well, if Germany gets like an armored car in there, they might. So for Germany, they're going to upgrade. I'm looking at theirs. They have an armored car. They have a mortar team. I want to get that mortar team in. So we're going to upgrade their command post to level 2, which costs the same. 1 manpower, 3 fuel. So that moves their fuel down to 5 and their manpower to 1. And we don't have enough to buy the mortar team just yet. So that's a stinker. We can, however, our Panzer Grenadier troops here, we can, for 1 experience, we can upgrade one of them to an extra range and visibility. So we'll do that. So we'll spend our cube. And the one that's up to 4 over here. So now you can see Germany's really got this one locked down, that victory point. Whereas here, with 2 guys, they're kind of in trouble. And we're going to have to back out of that one for sure, which I'm sure the Americans will come in and get it, because they kind of have to. I did not look at US upgrades with their experience. Alright, so we're back. Not sure exactly where that card, my memory card was full, so I was at the end here when I was talking about spending this last US cube, and I decided to wait because it actually takes 2 experience cubes to do one of the upgrades that I was thinking of. So the other thing was, I was trying to find my space. I realized that on the German command card, I moved, when I upgraded that command post, I moved their manpower down to 1, and it should be 3 because it only cost 1 to get it. So I made that adjustment.